In this video, I'm going to show you how I created this. So what's up everyone? I hope you enjoyed that video. First, let's talk about some of the gear that I'm using. The camera that I have is the Canon 5D Mark IV, and the lens choice that I used for this entire video was a 24mm lens at 1.4. Lens choice. You know, when you're filming something like this, there's a lot of crazy movements. You're whipping the camera up and down, you're tilting, you're even spinning the camera. If you are shooting with like an 85 or a 50, the chances of you missing the shot are highly likely. Another reason why you're going to want to use a wider lens when you're filming these types of things is because when you're adding movement into the camera, the wider your lens is, the more movement you're going to see. So the more excitement you're going to feel through your lens. Probably the most important tip that I can give you is take the time to plan out everything. So whatever the subject is that you choose, think about all the little steps and write everything down, because every little step is possible content for you to tie one scene into another. The more footage you have, the more content and little scenes that you have, the better you can control the pacing and the more interesting your video looks. I'll put my shot list in the description below so you can take a look. Because this was the opening shot to my story, I wanted it to be good and I wanted it to be eye-catching. So instead of just having the garage door open on its own, but I really wanted to elevate the shot with a slider. Tip when using the slider, if I just use the slider in the garage with no foreground, you wouldn't even notice the movement. If you have the chance to build a foreground, do it. It just elevates the shot so much and gives you that foreground so even the slightest movement is visible through your lens. It's really important to grab the viewer's attention within the first 10 seconds. You gotta find some sort of wow shot, some sort of hook to grab the viewer. And in my instance, it was the can flip. Capturing the paint can flip was worth it in the end, but so challenging. Because flipping the paint can itself is fairly unpredictable. You know, it doesn't come off the same way every time. And because I'm so close and I'm literally flipping the camera around, so it takes a lot of takes, eventually you're gonna get one that you like. One of the things I could have done to address this was just back the camera up a little bit, and that would have increased my field of view. Anytime I create a new video, I try to set myself a goal and I try to do something new that I can experiment with. And in this video, I was experimenting with a lot of whip pans. So how these whip pan transitions actually work, anytime you whip the camera back and forth, you're gonna create a natural motion blur within the camera. So you can use that to your advantage to go from one scene to the other very seamlessly. So if your camera is going down to up, the next shot that you need to connect that is you gotta continue the loop and go down to up again. And when editing these transitions together, all you need is a simple crossfade. You gotta be careful with the whip pans because if you do too much, it can actually get very disorienting for your viewer if you're constantly whipping the camera back and forth, but when used effectively, it can be a very powerful tool. Another useful transition that can be used within your B-roll sequences is when you fill the entire frame with one color. And in my instance, I used black. I had painter's tape being applied along the bottom of the wall, and then I had the tape fully cover the lens. And then because I went straight from black, now my next shot has to come out of black. When filming these epic B-roll sequences, anytime you can get something flying in the air or spinning or even smashing on the ground, just go for it because you can see how eye-catching these shots really are. And at the end of the day, it's all about keeping your viewer entertained and engaged and always wondering what happens next through your sequence. So this shot here where you see the paintbrush rolling over the lens is really easy to achieve. All I did was visit my local dollar store and grabbed one of those cheap picture frames. I took the glass out and I taped it to 2 light stands, and then I just filmed behind it, and then there you go. You have this cool shot where the paintbrush looks like it's rolling over the lens. And finally, we get to the end shot where the paint can is being closed, and that's the end of my scene. So I grabbed the saw, I cut the bottom of the can off, I elevated the can up, and then I just slid my camera underneath, and I just had my subject give me multiple takes with different variations, so I had a lot to work with in the edit. So there we go. That is how I tackled this B-roll sequence. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I will happily create some more. If you're interested in seeing some of the editing or the sound design, let me know also, and I'll post those shortly. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.